Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final game for today. Right here in the Paramount Harare Under 20 Rugby League. Rain is beginning to pour down. We do have a little bit of grass that is being spread across. Of course, it has been a muddy affair, and the previous game, as commentated by Sydney Sawanu, was one which was intense and ended with a very close scoreline. It was 13-8 in favor of Old Georgians. Old Georgians had lost 2 matches on the bounce and needed a victory seriously to remain in contention for the top 4, and they managed to do it against their bitter rivals, Old Hararians. Well, joining me in the commentary box is Ronald Ngube. Now, Ronin, it has been an interesting match. We watched that one, but the one that's coming up is going to be an intensely physical battle.
As the other guys would say, it should be a humdinger of a match. Indeed, these are not small boys, no lack of experience from both sides. And I think we're really set for an exceptional game. Well, I don't know if we can say fortunately or unfortunately, the rain is pouring down. It's good for us at the who are farmers, but will it be good for the boys? We'll wait and see today.
Well, whether they can farm the points off the pitch or not will remain an issue. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's going to be an interesting game here. It's Old Hararians who are taking on the Pitbulls. These boys have got huge packs. They've got huge pack weights that are there. And of course, pack weights that are definitely dictating the pace throughout. These are the 2 undefeated sides as they come and meet each other. All of them have got stardust here and there within the side. When we talk about Old Hararians, you have obviously got the young man wearing number 22 today for Old Hararians, Tatenda Kamvumbi. He's going to be playing in there. You do expect him to be carrying the number 10 role. Very creative player, and he's going to be key for them. But also don't forget their 8th man, Sean Ndoa. He is also another key man. He was the captain for Peterhouse last year. He's going to be playing in there. Another man to watch out for, who most likely will be coming off the bench, is going to be Mandiambira. He played for Wise Owl. He captained Wise Owl last year, and he's going to be on the bench, and hopefully he'll also get a bit of a stint. But when we also take a look at the Pitbull side, Ronald, I think these guys are also massive.
Indeed, we've seen what their pack has done throughout from the game against Old Georgians. You know, we actually have gotten used to OGs dominating, the scrum, dominating, the mauls and all that. But we then realized that, no, this season, it has changed. Pitbulls has managed to balance, and, over the past seasons, their Achilles heel has always been a smaller pack. We would always know they have good running lines, good backs, but this year, they have everything. They're firing from all sides, Ruvembo.
Oh yes, firing from all cylinders. Some of the players as well to note in that back line. I believe you've got the likes of Zikiti. You've also got the likes of Curtis Mashonganyika coming from Loma Gandhi last year. He's right in there. Brendan Musekiwa has also been very good on the wing. But don't forget the likes of Tadiwa Maradze. That center pairing with Mashonganyika has been so good. And of course, the ever steady, ever sure at the back as a fullback, Brendan Gwenzi, who has been in this side for 2 consecutive seasons. Now, last season, he was able to be there. He won it with them, and he'll be looking to do a double. And so it's going to be a tough context. But don't forget that front row there, Takudzo Machimbo. We know he's one of the youngsters that is being considered for the Zimbabwe Under 20 Junior Sables, was in that squad last year. Takudzo Furusa, also very much a good player there. And then look at that back row, Nyashangwarati, as well as Tafara Dewa. Tafara Dewa, we all know what he brings to that back row and what he brings to the lineouts. As the boys are coming onto the park, Ronin, I have to ask you this. What is your prediction for today? I'm putting you in a tight spot. I'm putting you in a hard space. But is it Marasta or is it the Pitbulls today?
I think I'll go with the Pitbulls. Though it will be good for Marasta today that the ever trusted Chinyaza is not in the game today. So it would be a bit of an advantage, I think, for all the Hararians. But still, we know what Chimaka can do. They've been playing in a dual role throughout the season, so he's also not a stranger to the 10 jersey. But I still think so far only the Pitbulls have themselves, only they can stop themselves.
Indeed, I 100% agree with you there. And all the Hararians are fired up. So are we in the commentary box. You are watching, of course, a Sports Extra on YouTube. You can catch up with us as well on our Facebook page, Instagram handle. We are also on TikTok, on the various social media platforms that are available. You can catch up with some of the action, some of our analysis and punditry as well concerning some of the action. Now, it is going to be the Pitbulls who are going to start things for us. This is the young man wearing jersey number 10, as you mentioned, who's going to be starting things off. Chinyaza out as a result of a hamstring injury, as we mentioned before. And we'll be hoping that he does come back. So off we go with Philip Chimaka. A high-hanging kick. And it's picked up. Kamvumbi sends it back. Brendan Gwenzi waiting for it. The bounce is awkward, but he gets it. And Pitbulls now love broken play. We all know that. But look at OH looking to smother them there. But enough support is there. One of the other players who played a very handy role last week in terms of line breaks was Makwevera. He played a very, very handy role for them. Mukuiri is also going to be playing a very serious role, but just the pack weight and the pack size of Pitbulls is very serious. But unfortunately, they're losing the ball. And of course, Coach Jeff Madake not impressed at all with the officiating there, as will always be the case throughout the match.
Indeed, at some point we will see him in this rain taking off his jacket. Hopefully all the Hararians can actually push him to that extent. But if they don't, then we know he will continue to maintain his steady seat there. But so far, I think both sides showing the intent that they don't want to make mistakes in their own halves, in their own 22s. We saw from kickoff, Pitbulls making sure that the ball goes high and very, very deep, and at the same time, Kamvumbi sending it back out. So we'll see which one manages, to put as much pressure on the other side within their half.
Oh yes, and with that line out not going according to plan, it's going to be a scrum for the Pitbulls. Now this is going to be a good size up, a good matchup now to try and see who dominates first. The first one generally to dominate in this case tends to be the one that dominates throughout the match, and this comes as a result of a mentality and obviously what will be playing on your mind if you're pushed back and if you wheel in your scrum. But let's see how it goes. Chataika has been a very plucky scrum half throughout. Ball comes out. Chimaka. Mashonganyika. Oh, what a line break here. Looking for support. Oh, good tackle. That looked like as if he was going to make it all the way there. Chataika quickly comes. As we mentioned, the ball is going to be quite slippery. And playing running rugby or fluid rugby might be a little bit of a challenge. Pops it out. Looks like to Brendan Gwenzi. But this time round, Pitbulls losing possession. And all the Hararians are lucky enough in order to recover there. So it looks like Simbadanga is going to call for what was a knock-on right at the base of the ruck. And it is going to be a scrum in favor of all the Hararians. Obviously, it is early days right now, Ronald, but the expectation is that the likes of Old Hararians will get into gear and start playing what they've been learning from their gaffers. That's Shelton Chuswa as well as Tichafara Makwanya.
Indeed, from the look of the squad, we have a couple of the guys that are also training with the HPC, the under 20 flagship. So we would expect them to at least bring a bit more than the average, under 20 player. But we've seen highlights of what Pitbulls can do whenever they get some broken play, and so far it seems again their scrum is still managing, to hold its own thus far. And let's see if they can manage to create a bit of magic here from this scrum moving forward and possibly start the scoreboard ticking now.
Yeah, one would say that the rain has been quite jealous of not allowing us to see the brand of rugby that we know both these sides can bring to the table, running it, trying to punch those holes in those defensive lines. But let's see how the Pitbulls go about it after turning over that. Pitbulls have to be very careful. And there we go, big push. And already they've taken advantage. The scrum is wheeling. And it looks like it's going to be a penalty. Who is it against? Just waiting for Simbadanga to give us the right direction. He says the scrum was wheeling, so I think he'll want it to be done again. And Ronald, I mean, this is one way that you wouldn't have wanted your afternoon to end watching your rugby, especially if you didn't make a plan concerning an umbrella.
True, because if you probably left home in the middle of the day, you'd have thought, the rain is gone. But so far, it looks like it's back. You'd rather just brave it like the guys that are in the field. But so far, it's still difficult for them. The field is slippery. The ball is slippery. But so far, Pitbull's still managing to move it up.
Chimaka managing as well to actually fend off that tackle because it was looking quite tricky. Trying to go on the side, and could that be a deliberate knock-on or not? I would say it was more accidental than deliberate. But according to Simbadanga, he says it's a deliberate knock-on. So they've got a chance here. I would have loved to see maybe Pitbulls going for the posts, but they've decided to go into touch and go for a line-out. Line-outs proved to be very difficult in the Harare Sports Club game, and we ended up seeing Harare Sports Club resorting to more of a tap and go because the line-outs were proving a little bit difficult for their jumpers. Do you think, however, that one should stick to processes?
I think so far, it's still early days. There's not a lot of desperation. Plus, so far, the best way to go is if you can get the meters in, into your opposition half, whatever will happen, but the mistake is going to happen deep in the opposition half. But so far, I think Pitbulls hasn't had so much of a bad line-out throughout the season. They've really been holding their own. We saw even with the Old Georgians game, they managed to steal a couple of them. So now, unfortunately, with the rain, they'll probably resort to try and keep it short, maybe 2-ball, keep it tight, let the forwards run the ball and move it as it is. But, well, it seems, as I was saying, something has gone wrong.
Oh, yeah, so something went wrong there. It seems like he was balking. And that is, of course, when you somewhat fake to throw the ball in. That's a high-hanging kick from Kamvumbi. And we knew there was going to be serious trouble there in terms of that. High balls in particular when the rain is there makes it so hard for you to get under them. And I think that's going to be the game. With someone like Kamvumbi who's got a very good boot on him, they will want to make use of him and they will want to ensure that they put the Pitbulls under pressure. Scoreline still remains 0-0, very early days. We do have heavy rain here, a thick dark cloud that is hanging over Old Hararians. You would almost think that everywhere else it's not raining. As you can see, a bit of sunshine elsewhere. But right here at Old Hararians, the rain is pouring. down. Ball comes out. Kamvumbi decides to go for another up and under. And as I mentioned, I think this is going to be the case. Brendan Gwenzi makes fluffs his lines there and immediately under pressure from all the Hararians. But Pitbulls does make sure that they secure the ball, and Pitbulls are trying to somewhat run their way or create some space for the pocket in behind to clear their lines. Chimaka decides to go for an up and under himself. Kamvumbi gets it nice and easy. Decides to run and unfortunately lost. And there we go. The ball is so slippery. So the idea from Kamvumbi, perfect. That's exactly what you want. Kick it up and under. You're going to force mistakes. But at the same time as well, Pitbulls might as well use Chimaka as well as Gwenzi to do the same.
Indeed, you know, when you kick it high. But I think, Ruvimbo, we haven't talked about the old Hararians captain, Young Masawi there. I think he's also one to watch. We know how he can be a bit slippery. We'll see how he manages this field that he's gotten so used to. Hopefully he will also be one of the people who will be able to put as much pressure when Kamvumbi puts those balls high up. Gwenzi, we know what he can do it defensively and even in attack play, but so far he's really been under pressure with those high balls. Let's see if he can manage to hold on.
Well, looks like a mistake there by Mkuiri at the base of the scrum, knocking it on as he was trying to pick it up. And so it looks like the boys are a little bit confused and are wanting to find out who knocked the ball on. But I think that is pretty much, as the weather dictates, water under the bridge, I would say. And Simbadanga here is going to have a little bit of a short conversation with the Pitbulls technical bench. I'm sure is not too happy with the words coming on to the field of play, and he will discuss what happened there. So anyway, that's the first conversation, and we expected it to happen sooner or later. But
indeed, we do hope, you know, this would be the last conversation that the coach and the ref will have. But you know, when it comes to these two gentlemen, I'm sure we're in for a very exciting game. Especially now that we've been mentioning that it's still early days, a lot of errors will be made. A little bit of a chip there. Are they going to make it?
Well, it looks like it has been collected by Gwenzi. He pushes it way upfield past the halfway mark, and Brendan Gwenzi is able to push all of the Pitbulls onside, but space is also left right at the back, and that might just be a 50-22, but it doesn't get out. And they're going to kick it back upfield, and it promises to be the kind of game that we expect. Oh, that is a great defensive play. But I do believe that could have been blown by Simbadanga. He decides not to blow against it. He decides to let it go. I think he wants to take control of it. Picks it up out to Brendan Gwenzi. He's going to go for it. And I believe he's also going to try and find a 50-22. And as I said, it's going to degenerate into this kind of a game. Kamvumbi has got no choice but to kick it as well. Ketis Mashonganyika under it, but he decides to leave it. Now they've got a chance. Looks like he is going to go for his own kick upfield. It's a ding-dong affair at the moment, Ronald.
Indeed, and we expect another one, but OH decides to run it this time and at least bring some entertainment to this game instead of the ping pong that we had become accustomed to.
Well, looking to drive it forward, but finally goes to ground. Ball comes out. Machimbo is going to pass it out. Looking for that pass. Gwenzi collects it, pops it out to the winger. He's on his bike. He's gone. Can he go? Kamvumbi is waiting for him. Kamvumbi won't get him. And Pitbulls are going to take the first 5 points. Oh, that was poor defensive work from Kamvumbi. Surely he should have taken the man out rather than to try and wrap his arms around him. Son, this is not a leavers dance. This is rugby. You get left for dead when that happens, and it's try time for the Pitbulls.
It is the small things that make the difference, and now Pitbulls have staked their claim and they have drawn first blood, and unfortunately for Kamvumbi, he will be the one ruining why he didn't think a bit more faster than he has done here. And so it is 5-0, kick to come. Pitbulls continue on the rampage, Ruvimbo.
Indeed they do. Well, it looks like Chimaka doesn't get that one right. Dragged it a little bit too much to the left. So Pitbulls will be comfortable with the 5 points that they have. And for all the Hararians, they are the ones that have to come back into the match. But once again, a beautiful piece of play. One of the things you don't want to do is to allow the Pitbulls to play broken play. Broken play, they will hurt you left, right, and center. So when the ping pong started, I knew at some point gaps were going to open up. The gaps opened up, and all the Hararians were punished. They'll need to be tighter in defense, Ronald.
Indeed, and the way they always manage to draw you in and create an overlap on the open side is what really all the Hararians has been made to pay for. And it's really difficult, really, Ruvimbo, if you give them the ball to then start.
Oh, Chimaka, he breaks through. He's going. Shonjoa offloads it to Brendan Gwezi. He still has support. And the ball comes out. They're still going. The Pitbulls have made over 60 meters with just flowing play. I told you the Pitbulls in broken play are so dangerous. The ball does pop out of the hands. And it looks like it's a penalty. Simbadanga signals a penalty. All the Hararians have to go back 10. And Chataika maybe just a little bit too quick. And all the Hararians are just found in an offside line. Do not kick it back to the Pitbulls if you're not ready to receive them back.
Indeed, at the end of the day, that overlap then came back to bite, all the Hararians, and now Pitbulls will continue to pound them. And we know what they do, even if they get an opportunity right in the middle. The big locks and the big centers, they can actually make you pay.
Oh, yes, indeed. And it looked like they were trying to intercept there. Looks like that'll be another deliberate knockdown. So that'll be a penalty. Chataika goes for a quick tap. He's going to pass it on to one of his big forwards. And that looks like it's a try time. No doubt. They tend to say in hip-hop music, no diggity, no doubt. And it's a try time for the Pitbulls as they stretch their lead 10 points to 0. That is what you expected, Ronald, that they would come out firing from all cylinders and that they would really want this. And remember, this is a confirmation of a semi-final place that is up for grabs. Both sides undefeated at the moment in the league. And I feel that with this victory, the Pitbulls would have secured it. Chimaka is able to convert that one, and that takes them to 12 points to 0. But how important as well for the mentality of the side will be this victory for the Pitbulls?
It's very unfortunate for everyone else in the league so far. We expected the other teams, the traditional big three, big four, now big three, outside of Pitbulls.
Not big two?
to try and bring it on. But so far it seems they've all been crumbling, as whenever we have been seeing them play against Pitbulls, and so far Pitbulls look set to probably retain their championship. Oh no, they're not retaining. They're taking it back this year. I've gotten so used to them keeping this thing, man.
Well, to be fair, I think they've retained it so many times that we actually lost track. So anyway, it's all Georgians took it in 2023, and then last year the Pitbulls were able to muscle it back again from the Pitbulls, and so they are looking to retain it. Of the 8 years that they've played this particular trophy, the Pitbulls have only lost one match, and that was that final against Old Georgians. So the Pitbulls are looking to just continue to dominate. That looks like Mashonganyika was picked that up. A couple of handoffs there. Oh, maybe a bit too eager as he was going for more hits.
True, too much to be done, too little space and too few hands to do it with. But it looks like it might end up not becoming a competitive game if Pitbulls keep this up, and if old Hararians don't manage to find solution, to that Chimaka line break problem.
Yeah, indeed. So Chimaka is in charge of kicking duties today, and I think one of the other things you were talking about balance at the beginning that Pitbulls has been able to have is getting more and more kickers. So you've got Brendan Gwenzi, you've got Chimaka, you've got Chinyadza, all of them able to kick the ball. That helps them in terms of defensively clearing their lines. It also helps them in terms of kicking for territory. Brendan Gwenzi, quick on his feet, now looking for a 50-22, looking to go over. But he doesn't find it. Oh, that clearly is going to be a penalty, a very late tackle, and Pitbulls will be extremely lucky to walk out of this one without a yellow card, because we have got a player. Because that was a very late challenge there, Ronald.
Indeed, and you don't expect such things, so early in the game. You expect everyone to try and be, sportsmen and be and allow everyone else to compete as much as they can. You don't want to be on the wrong side of the ref so early. You don't want also to prove to be a danger to your opposition player. So discipline is really, really important from both sides.
Yeah, let's see how Simbadanga deals with this one. Of course, the assistant referee having called in Simbadanga for what was a very, very dangerous challenge, and it didn't even seem like as if he went in with his hands there. It seemed like as if he went in with his feet. It seemed more like a football tackle than it was a rugby tackle, and that is most likely going to be a talking to at the very least, but a yellow card at the very most. And if that does happen, then Pitbulls would obviously be tottering here. But Simbadanga speaks very sternly to to the boys. Machimbo obviously is going to take the flag for that. Tells Machimbo to speak to his boys and tell them what they need to get done.
I think so far the ref really trying to not be the center of attention in this game. We've seen a couple of deliberate knock calls. So far no card has been brought, because you also don't want, again, you as the ref to be the talking point for the rest of the game. You'd much rather just allow the boys to play and understand that, sometimes tempers flare, adrenaline rush is there, and these are still young men with still, if I can say, hot blood flowing in their veins.
Oh yes, indeed, a lot of hot blood. And it seems like everybody that is kicking for touch seems to be wanting to find the next door neighbors. I mean, they're kicking the ball so hard. I'm sure you could kick it into the terraces, but I mean, some of them are finding the trees, some of them are finding the roof of the house next door, and it brings delay to balls that are actually coming onto the pitch. So hopefully maybe the boys will also understand that that could affect momentum in the game, especially if you are the ones that have got it. So for now, Old Hararians in the half of the Pitbulls. Surely the expectation is once you get into your opposition's half, you need to come out with something. Their line out here has to be on the money. It's a 2-ball. It's well taken. Comes down. Kamvumbi sends it out. Oh, it's looking quite good for Old Hararians. They've got lots of runners on the outside, but the pass was not great. Oh, no. That was a good attacking opportunity, and that knock-on just allows the Pitbulls to live another day. Surely they should have been punished at that point. It was really good passage of play, and I think many of the coaches here have been saying that my desire, especially under wet weather like this, is to try and get the ball through the hands as much as possible and make sure you stretch the defenses. The holes will open up.
True. And I think at the end of the day, at some point they might actually need to then bring in their forwards a bit more so that they keep it tight, if they get into a bit more phase play, especially when they get so close, so close to the try box, so that they don't make some of those mistakes that they're making trying to force that last pass there. But still, they still need to do a bit more, because you can't be so close and not get paid against a Pitbull side that is on fire like this.
Oh yes, and there we go, a knock-on from the base of the ruck. Again, when you try to play quick ball in these kinds of conditions, very, very tough to maintain the momentum, and that's something that they will want to just correct and do much better. But this is an attacking scrum for Old Hararians. They have to push with all their might here, but it looks like they're the ones that are being driven back. I'm not sure if Simbadanga is going to blow, and it did look like there was a bit of a knock-on there, and my general advice for Old Hararians would be quick ball in, quick ball out.
Quick ball in, quick ball out, and then you make sure that you at least manage to retain it and not force these unnecessary passes, and try and create maybe a couple of phases, because we haven't really seen a lot of those coming through from Old Hararians. It's either they're kicking or they're trying to run the ball, and so far I think after two or three attempts you realize that maybe we need to try something else that's a bit different, and also just try and keep it very tight. But so far, Pitbulls will still send it out. A little chip there from Kamvumbi. Unfortunately, you might be made to pay for that.
Well, Dewa, they're slipping after getting the pass from Machimbo, and the ball is there to be taken. Chataika just looking for the best place to pass it to. That ball has got a lot of mud. Oh, just didn't get the pass right. So that ball didn't quite go as according to plan. And surely he was up and away. I mean, if it had gone to the winger, I'm sure he was going to make a good 15 to 20 meters before he was going to be caught. I'm not so sure if it was a try-scoring opportunity in the way that it has been made by the technical bench, but we do understand the kind of opportunity that it is. Now, Ronald, doesn't the number 2 remind you of Sable Zuka?
It looks like it's now becoming a generational thing. A symbolite from Old Hararians now.
Indeed, but that was a good line out from him. Kamvumbi goes for a high hanging kick. Oh, he misses it, and the ball is loose. Can Old Hararians make it through? And it looks like it's finally pushed into touch somehow, some way. But that was a very good high-hanging kick. I mean, I have been waxing lyrical around Tatenda Kamvumbi. His mindset around rugby, his rugby IQ is really quite good. He was the young man who was captaining Prince Edward last year. Unfortunately, Prince Edward not having the greatest of seasons last year, as that was the final year of the current Zimbabwe Under-20 Junior Sables head coach, Sean D'Souza. That was his final year before moving on. So we're waiting to see who will be taking over the Tigers' reins. But Kamvumbi, a quality player, and has also played very well for Old Hararians. It looks like we've got a short-term penalty in favor of Old Hararians, and this is the time that they have to deliver a knockout punch, a pass. Good tackle. A couple of tackles missed there, and it is slippery. Slip and slide it is. It is going to be a penalty, and Simbadanga says you're going in there, sealing the ruck. A quick tap and go, but Simbadanga says no, go back to the mark. Looks like they are going to go for another line out, and which might be a very good idea here, Ronald, because that first line out was awesome.
Indeed, and so close to the try line. You want to at least attempt to, even if you lose it, you still have Pitbulls under pressure. They're still the ones who have to clear the lines, so they'll still kick it back to you. So unfortunately, most of the times, those players, maybe it's the pressure of the game. They don't understand that even if you've got a penalty, point scoring opportunity, just kick it. If you miss, if you score, the ball is still gonna come back to you. So you still retain that possession at the end of the day.
Indeed you do, with the line out being botched. Oh, round the fringes, and here comes the Pitbulls. Oh, Tafara Deo finds a lovely pocket to run into. Chataika to Chimaka. Chimaka, oh, well. Oh, it looks like Pitbulls had an offside line when that kick was actually made. So it is, well, quite a number of signs that we got from Simbadanga. All we can say is it's Pitbulls who got the penalty. A no-look pass, I don't think that was necessary from the Pitbulls, but luckily they didn't pay the price. Chataika, Chimaka. Oh, there we go. An overlap on this side. Curtis Mashonganyika going in for the handoff. Needed to have offloaded, but ball picked up still. Now coming back on the inside, Chataika with a beautiful pass over the top, but oh, the muddy waters, the muddy field has made that ball very slippery.
Indeed, we saw how much meters they made when they kept the passes very short and flat. It's only when you start attempting to do things with the ball that mistakes are made and things go wrong. And definitely Jeff will not be very amused with what has happened there. And hopefully they can manage to keep it short and tight and create. And we've seen how they're managing to continuously create that overlap. Maybe the person who has to give out the last pass is also being greedy, try line fever and all. But if they manage to make that final pass, the overlap that they've been creating is really working well for them so far.
And so that scrum not necessarily to Simbadanga's liking, and it will have to be done again. That is also of importance, how they go about things. Well, Old Hararians coming in. Well, that's a penalty, a long arm penalty. And it seems like Simbadanga is saying that it was Pitbulls there that were collapsing the scrum. Anyway, he'll get to watch the video. And in days to come, I'm sure TMO will be availed. So the line out will belong to Old Hararians. A smart idea to try and gain some of that territory as the rain just eases up a little here. And a very slight small drizzle. Line out comes, and for Old Hararians it's working very, very well. their lineouts. Deciding to go for phases. Kamvumbi with another kick over the top. Brendan Gwenzi. Well, I would have thought he was going to call. I thought he was going to call Mark, but he still got a very beautiful kick out of his own territory past the halfway mark and things like that. But I would also love to see a bit more. I would say game awareness, territorial awareness. He easily could have called Mark. He was in his 22, and that could have given him a freer kick. But nonetheless, that's just me, Ronald.
Indeed, we'll just be happy that at least he managed to get his team out. And as we see the rain clearing there, maybe we will see a bit of the traditional Gwenzi that we have come to be so used to. We know he has happy feet and he can step the whole field if on a good day. So hopefully that will be a bit of a relief. And
so Old Hararians are so far in 3 lineouts that we've seen them take. They have not lost one. And now looking for a bit of physicality. Kamvumbi, he's going to go for another kick. I think his assignment the whole day today is going to be kick as much as possible. Now Pitbulls are looking to counter-attack. He finds an open gap. Was looking for the pass and well intercepted by Old Hararians. And they retain possession. And that's sometimes the danger of playing in your own half. Kamvumbi sends it out to the young Manduoma, we'll say. But Kamvumbi again gets the ball, tries to get his forwards, getting some go-forward ball. If he can do that. Kamvumbi again, very much a part of everything that's happening around. Oh, they've got a little bit of an overlap here, but not making use of the winger. If I can tell you, that is looking like a penalty advantage. Oh, finds the gap, but taken down by an emergency tackle by Nyanyua, who has also come onto the park. And have been held up in that mole. Always dangerous when you try to go into contact against the Pitbulls. They'll hold you up, but luckily for them, a penalty advantage was there.
Indeed, they're tall, they're big, they have all day. The scoreboard is in their favor, so they can afford to hold you up. And you know, I think they've got so far the tallest players amongst the rest of the league, maybe save for Old Georgians or who have quite a few of the bigger boys. But so far, it seems like Old Hararians are actually bringing the heat on. You know, hopefully they manage to hold on, and hopefully they also get, you know, a couple of points on the board to try and make this a fair game for both of the teams.
Yes, 12 points to 0 at the present moment. That's the scoreline here. The Pitbulls are still leading 2 tries, 1 conversion. And Old Hararians are still yet to make their own incision on the scoreboard as we speak. But I think one of the other challenges has also been, have they had the opportunity to actually kick for posts? Have they had the opportunity to maybe get penalties in those areas? I don't think they've really had that opportunity, and they've used their lineouts pretty well, but just not getting the final ball right, and I think they are going to look to do that. So Pitbulls looking to push hard and pushing very, very hard. Well, no penalty given, looking for an 8-9, and it doesn't quite work out. Oh yes, good physicality from Old Hararians. Chataika looking for a box kick. And here we have it. Kamvumbi now going forward. It almost found the gap there, but was slipping and sliding. No need to have offloaded off the deck. And now it is the Pitbulls who also knock it on. So I'm sure Simba Danga is going to bring an end to what has been a very entertaining first half. Old Hararians are not out of this one by any long shot.
Indeed, all it takes is a bit of a few tweaks, and I think so far, well, and unfortunately, Pitbulls is not your regular side that you say, you know, they'll collapse in the second half. But I think so far, Old Hararians still have, you know, an opportunity to turn the tables around and hopefully get lucky and hopefully steal the win at the end of the day. But so far, the Pitbulls still going on a rampage.
Oh yes, Pitbulls leading 12 points to nil against Old Hararians. Go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second half of this brutal bruising encounter between Pitbulls and Old Hararians. Marasta versus the Pitbulls, and the Pitbulls are leading 12 points to nil. A mistake there that could prove to be fatal from Chimaka. And oh, that's a forward pass. That's good pressure from Old Hararians. Good pressure. And we spoke about that. Wet conditions like these always opens up to mistakes, Ronald, and that's exactly what we're getting at the start of the second half.
And so far so good. I think we're all excited to see now what Old Hararians have planned and what they have been cooking and what they will serve in the second half. And so far, I think they're all hands on deck. We see the pressure and the forcing of the errors that they've just pushed, Pitbulls to make, and hopefully maybe something will come off the scrum. And here they come. So close.
Looks like that was a knock on by Old Hararians, just trying a little too hard, being a little bit too eager to get over the line and just not exercising that patience. Yes, it was try time, but relax. That's what I would have said to the boys. But in any case, 12-0 is what it remains. So here comes the scrum. Big one from Old Hararians, but ball does come out. Oh, that's a high tackle. And I think Simbadanga might just brandish that yellow card. He did have a conversation with both of these sides a little earlier on in the match. And who knows, it might just go yellow. So far, it looks like Simbadanga is a Father Christmas. He is kind to both sides and hasn't wielded any yellow cards.
And it seems the technical sides are not very amused with how he has been kind enough. But anyway, he, like you are saying, Ruvimbo, he has been Santa today, making sure that everyone gets to enjoy all the minutes in this game. Let's see how far he holds, because when those boys also realize how lenient you are, they will try and push you and see what the limit is. And we'll get to see. Well, he is a teacher after all, so I'm sure he feels that his words are enough.
Well, it looks like that wasn't in straight. Look, I think the 5 meter line out is always something quite tricky, especially on the local scene. And it just never seems to actually come off. unless if your opposition is so asleep to the point whereby you actually threw it in for 7 meters. But it never seems to quite work out. And ultimately, that is handing away possession. So in my view, I think that's something that they need to try and watch out for, need to try and deal with there. And I think we did see a substitution did come at halftime. Chataika out. He has been replaced by one of the other young men from the bench. You can tell because he's got a cleaner short than anybody else. So ball comes out. Kamvumbi doing a looping run, sending it out. There's so much space. Decides to cut back inside, loses his footing. And Pitbulls are just able to recover. It looks like it's a penalty advantage. High tackle by the Pitbulls. So Older, oh, what a lovely grabber. Could all Hararians make it? It's try time for all Hararians. I'm not so sure if he got there, but he grounded it. And what matters is all Hararians are back in this match.
When you hang around the barber shop long enough, you definitely get your hair cut, and so far it's been so close. A lot of people will be left wondering if that was a try or not. But well, the ref has called it, and kudos to all the Hararians for also managing to get paid there at the end of the day. And so we are actually seeing that they've actually brought the heat on. They've actually turned the gas on in this second half, and we really are excited about what this game is going to be like. And so the scores stand at 12-7, and we do have a big game on our hands. And indeed, what a way to end this day. We thought, Pitbulls, I personally thought Pitbulls was going to run rings and circles around all the Hararians. But now it seems without that Chinyadza touch, there's really not too much magic coming through. Maybe we'll blame it on the weather. But let's see now that the rain has cleared a bit, maybe they will be able to bring through the traditional kind of rugby that we have come to be used to. So far, the scores stand: Pitbulls 12, Old Hararians 7.
Yes, indeed. And now just a 5-pointer. I did expect Old Hararians to come back into this game. I didn't think. Oh, that's a good catch, Brendan Gwenzi. Now onto it. Now the fleet-footedness, as you are talking about, Ronald, as he goes straight into contact. Running onto the drier part of this pitch, having slowed down play. Now they've gone into it. Furusa looks like he has offloaded, looking for that pass on the outside. Could they go? But that's a try-saving tackle, I will say. Ball comes out quickly once again. Matrimbo goes in for the hit. Good carries so far, even in the first half. Deciding to go into contact again. Deciding to go onto the near side. And that is a good leg drive as well to keep the momentum going. But all the Hararians are doing very well to hold. Machimbo with the great leg drive. Looking to go around the fringes, and it's try time. It is. Oh, well. Double movement by Simbadanga. It is said to have been double movement, so that is going to be a penalty against the Pitbulls. And all the Hararians will rightfully so look to send it to Musekiwa's side. Ball goes into touch. This time round taking aim at our commentary box, Ronald, but they couldn't get there.
Ultimately, the sheriff, there's only one sheriff, and today that is Simbadanga. No matter what you think, no matter what you feel, if he says double movement, no try, then that's that. As the saying goes, Chinobmisa Munuchi.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Now, we're looking for... It's going to be an interesting line out. Well, that line out didn't go in straight and pointed correctly so by Simbadanga. That's one of the few line outs, if any, for all Hararians that has gone wrong. And all of a sudden, what was a defensive line out has turned into an attacking line out. Now the front row looks like it's going to get some refreshing. And the front rower was more eager to get on the pitch than to get to the AR. But anyway, I think he is going to be replacing one of the front rowers. And there we go. Another heavyweight that has been added to the front line of the Pitbulls. And they go for a big push, but all the Hararians hold steady. Ball has to come out from the base of the scrum. It does come out. Chimaka. Oh, that's a lovely pass. Oh, breaking the lines. Decides to go way over the top. Brendan Gwenzi, and he knocks it on. And what was looking like a promising move for the Pitbulls looks like to have gone bad. And a quick tap and go from OH. And they kick it over the top. And Kamvumbi is making good tracks. Great tackle. Good pressure. So Pitbulls now looking to slow down play. Chimaka is looking for a touch, and a little bit too desperate. A little bit too desperate for that one. And unfortunately, he goes straight into touch with it. So Pitbulls can breathe a huge sigh of relief there on it.
Indeed, and it seems Pitbulls really didn't get a lot of or maybe older Hararians' instructions were a bit more clearer, and the boys are a bit more hungry, hungrier of the two, and hopefully this will make sure that the game goes down to the wire, because as things stand, I think if this continues, it will go down to the wire indeed, and whoever wants it more will have to steal the day. But kudos to all the Hararians for also, stepping up and showing that they have been working hard also throughout the season. The progress and the movement is now clearly showing.
Oh yes, indeed. Here comes the scrum for the Pitbulls. It looks like it's gone up. Ball is loose, and that's a penalty. That's a penalty. But I must say, Old Hararians did perfectly on that scrum. It was a serious scrum from Old Hararians. And Pitbulls were under the pump for arguably the first time in this very match. Pitbulls will be looking to make a couple of substitutions soon to add more zest and punch. But it looks like we've now got an injury for Pitbulls, and the medical team is running onto the field. Make sure that they quickly attend to the young man who's on the floor right now. It doesn't look like he's looking too good, trying to get up. He has kind of stepped to the side. Might actually have a bit of blood that might be coming out. The physio there, Thelma from... Generally, she does work for Old Georgians, but it looks like she's helping the cause here, proving to be the Santa Claus of physiotherapists at the moment.
Indeed, working across as long as there's rugby, as long as there's an injury, it seems she continues to stick to the oath from their medical oath, just to serve and serve and serve. And we are grateful to her and to everyone else that's involved in helping these young men through.
So, Old Hararians, well, there's a signal for a substitution, and those substitutions look like impact players. I was talking about Mkwera. He's now coming on for the Pitbulls. He's wearing jersey number 17. And also coming on very soon will be Nyamkondiwa, also famously known as Zaiso. He is the stalwart, and definitely does a lot at the breakdown for the Pitbulls. But now the Pitbulls, as is well known right now, as you can see on the screen, are under the pump and could actually face a score equalizing situation, a game equalizing situation here, if Old Hararians can get their scrum to push and push hard.
And even as they're pushing, they need to be really steady, because, you know, there's excitement and the adrenaline and the fever, you know, to get to the try line is what leads to the mistakes. And they continue to come. First phase, they're coming through. They take it up. Right, are they going to make it in the middle? Again, they try and hit in the middle. They gain a couple of meters. They're almost there. Old Hararians still pushing.
Well, now the Pitbulls are really on the back foot. Kamvumbi looking for a long pass on the outside. He has to cut back in, and that is a big tackle in order to send him outside. I mean, and the referee, Simbadanga, is going to have a chat with his assistant referee. But I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure if Simbadanga is going to be giving a penalty here. And it looks like he's going to have a chat. And if he's going to pull him in, it looks like a yellow card might just come out. I think he has been so lenient throughout the match. I'm not so sure if this augurs well for us, especially when we go into the international scene, where it's going to be tricky. And it's a yellow card. 10 minutes. And Pitbulls have lost a front rower. For a high tackle. And so it's going to be a scrum. Old Hararians opt for that. And they know that Pitbulls are short of a front rower, so this is the time to go for it. But Pitbulls do hold their scrum. Shondoa goes for an 8th-man break, taken down. There's a huge overlap if the ball goes through the hands. That's a poor pass. Well, Pitbulls are looking to continue, and that's an inside pop pass. He's gone. He's going to go for the grabber. Has he got soccer skills? He does. He does. It's into the try box, and Pitbulls have done it. From a position of being under the pump to putting Old Hararians under the pump and scoring a try. Pitbulls don't give up.
These are the things that make the difference between Pitbulls and everyone else in this league, Ruvimbo. They can never give up. They always understand, as long as the clock is ticking, as long as the whistle hasn't gone, they can still create some magic. And like we have always been saying, that open side overlap has been working, and you can see even the tactical awareness, you know, to bringing the soccer skills, as you were calling it. It sounded as if maybe he may have had you urging him on, you know, to bring on the soccer skills. And at the end of the day, Old Hararians have nothing to show for all their struggles. And you know, 14-men Pitbulls have managed to pull a rabbit out of their hat, and so far they've scored another try, and the scores are 17-5 now. Kick to come. Unfortunately, the kick is a bit wide, but they'll still be very comfortable. They'll still be very happy. And unfortunately, you would expect, you know, Old Hararians to be the ones piling on the pressure, but now the guys with the yellow card are the ones that are sitting very comfortably.
Oh yes, they're sitting very comfortably. 17-5 is the score, and all Hararians, for all the effort within the 22 of the Pitbulls, they didn't make much of it, and they're going to rue that mistake because 5 points have been added onto the board for not being able to bury a chance when it comes in your way. And now, of course, I did mention that a couple of substitutions. The last substitution that I think has been made by the Pitbulls, Zaiso, wearing number 27 for the Pitbulls. And he comes on. We know what a hard runner he is, a hard tackler as well. Oh, well. Chimaka goes for that area where it's vacant. Picked up. Old Hararians put a dink over the top. Oh, but there was obstruction. And so there was obstruction, and Simbadanga says it's a penalty, obstruction for Pitbulls. So anyway, line out for all Hararians, and Pitbulls have won it. Another line out that has gone begging for all Hararians.
Hey, one of those guys are offside.
Chimaka, Mashonganyika, ish. It goes backwards. Could this be a mistake that Pitbulls will pay for? It doesn't look like it. And so it looks like it's a knock-on in their own 22, and a huge chance for Old Hararians to try and pull the game back here. Come on, they've got the boys on the park. They can do this. I'm sure if they do make use of this opportunity, that things can go well for them. So Old Hararians also made a substitution, removed their scrum half, put in a substitute scrum half wearing jersey number 21. Oh, that's a decent shove from Pitbulls. And ball comes out. Kamvumbi looking for the pass. Looping run. There's a gap out there. He didn't release the ball on time. And Pitbulls are going to smother him. And it's a knock-on right at the base of the ruck. Knock-on advantage to Pitbulls. And that's a big hoof upfield. But he's going to bring it back to the original infringement, which was a knock-on from Old Hararians. And we'll give possession to Pitbull. So, feed from Pitbulls. They hold steady. It's looking tough. Ball finally does come out. Chimaka tries to go for the kick. But well taken by Old Hararians. Now they can counter-attack. Going straight into contact. Is there anybody at the breakdown? OH does have the ball. Ball comes out. Oh, running straight into a brick wall. Oh, there's an overlap and Well, these are the things that tend to happen when you are full of nerves. I think that was a very nervous moment. I think he had seen the try line fever, Ronald.
Indeed, and this is one of the reasons why I don't envy or I don't really wish to be a coach. I'd rather just sit here, and enjoy watching the game. Because imagine being the coach, you've seen your boys getting into these try-scoring positions. This is not the first time, Yes, you might say nerves, but they need to then understand that something needs to give, and the scoreboard is not favoring them, and at the end of the day they need to score points, and they can only score points if they're very creative enough, if there's a big game player, if there's a leader on the park that says, no guys, let's not take it wide, let's just try and keep the phases going and go straight. Because if you're 5 and you're taking the ball out wide, it then doesn't work at the end of the day. And that is the difference between this team and the Pitbulls, who are leading. They always make sure whenever opportunity knocks, they make sure they open for it.
Oh yes, so they're definitely open for it when the opportunity comes knocking. Question is, with that failed kick in terms of finding distance, can the old Hararians under 20 side make Pitbulls pay the price for this? 17-5 the score at the moment. Oh, missed out. It looks like there was a bit of a knock-on. But Old Hararians have the advantage and can't make use of the advantage. So Old Hararians may be struggling with nerves. I'm not so sure, because I don't think there's an issue of size here, Ronald. There's no issue of size. The boys are big from Old Hararians. The boys are big from Pitbulls. Not a size issue here, but it is an issue of who is the calmest, who is able to calm themselves down and execute the opportunity soon enough. And one of the front rowers as well from Pitbulls ready to get back on. He had his yellow card time, and he's about to come back on soon. Shondoa looking to pick and go, but felled down by Chimaka. It looks like it's a knock-on or a penalty advantage. Not so sure. Still waiting for Simbadanga here. Oh, that is some force and power from the likes of Machimbo. Oh, that's a little dink over the top. This is a chance. Have they scored? Simbadanga is going to have a chat with the assistant referee. All Hararians are confident that they scored the try, and Simbadanga gives it. So it is going to be 17-10. All Hararians are not going to go quietly into the night. So try time it is from Old Hararians. We were calling for them to score the try. We were calling for them to do something, and they finally have done it. And so the conversion is now coming. Kamvumbi has to try and get this one right. Turn it into a 5-point game. Make it nice and close, Ronald. But good fight from Old Hararians. They finally scored that try.
And what we were talking about, Ruvimbo, where we were saying when you get into those opportunities, you then need somebody who makes the difference. And it was just that little chip, that awareness to say, no, there's no way we're going to go straight. Unfortunately, the kick will not happen. Scoreline still remains 17-10, but still with the game. As I was saying, there's no way somebody realized there's no way we're going to go straight, past the Chimakas, the Nyamukondiwas, because they're there for blood, They will hit anything that comes in front of them. But then let's try and be a bit more creative. And if probably they had started doing that, the scoreline would be very, very different. And even mentally, they would be at a very, very good position. But still, they're still making sure that they're showing us that they're here to play and they're here to ball. And hopefully they maybe create another moment of magic.
Yes, a moment of magic is what's needed. Shondoa picks it up, trying to go. They protected well enough. Old Hararians surely will have a bit of fire in their belly after having scored that try. But they need a converted try at the very least So with that knock on from Brendan Gwenzi, a very key area, all Hararians are in with the shout here. In a very good position just outside the 22. So looking to go on the blind side, and that's exactly what Old Hararians has done. They've tried to go for that grabber. Pitbulls are not able to keep that one in, but well, at least good footwork to make sure it didn't go past him, because if it had, it would have been a very, very interesting time for the Pitbulls. So Pitbulls right now holding on by the skin of their teeth. Here comes the line out. Goes to the Pitbulls. That looks like Chagirai has taken on it. Ball comes out. Pitbulls now looking to build a couple of phases. Great leg drive. Now looking to run it through the hands, still in their own half. Pitbulls are feeling that they've got an opportunity to try and suck in the numbers from Old Hararians. Chimaka decides to do the wise thing over the top of Kamvumbi. Quite lucky it didn't turn into a 50-22. Kamvumbi trying to run across. He's been caught. He's knocked it on. And easily, that is going to be a knock-on advantage.
And that is the reason they brought in Nyamukondiwa, aka Zeso.
That's what he gives you on the park. He nails absolutely everyone and that tries to run away with the ball. That's his job. That is his speciality. And Kamvumbi, I am not so sure what the idea was there. Surely he should have kicked it. So another substitution, number 19 coming on for Old Hararians. Going to be replacing the back rower wearing number 4. Number 24 is also going to come on board. I'm not so sure who he's coming to replace. That looks like a Chitendeni twin. I'm not so sure if it's Earl or Ethan, but either way, it's a Chitendeni twin. That's what matters. A big shove by the Pitbulls. Ball comes out. Chimaka Mashonganyika passes it out. Gwenzi looking for the pass, and Musekiwa doesn't read. Musekiwa doesn't read the pass. Ran way past it. And so, with immediate effect, the young man has been asked to sit down. So, Old Hararians will benefit from that false piece of play from the Pitbulls. Big shove by the Pitbulls. Tried to come on the blind side, and Kamvumbi guilty once again of another mistake. And it looks like the pressure is really building on Kamvumbi and making it so hard. Now this is where Pitbulls can be so dangerous. A scrum in your own 22. Them leading 17-10. If they get this try, you kind of feel that it kind of puts the nail on the coffin, and basically we can start coming out with the drapes and all the chandeliers, because the game would effectively be over. But who knows? Old Hararians has been coming back again and again and again. So it's who makes the best decision now. Pitbulls go in for the push, looking to get a penalty out of this one. They keep on pushing. Surely by now, eighth man break. He did not release, and they've botched that. And it looks like we might just be having another substitution. So it is going to be a scrum for Old Hararians. They're going to try and hold on, but what a shove from Pitbulls. Kamvumbi slips, but at least it gets the ball out. Brendan Gwenzi looking for a gap. He goes past one tackler, goes past two, almost goes past three, and that wasn't the smartest idea to offload. But Old Hararians will get the knock-on advantage. So quite a number of mistakes being made here by the Pitbulls, and just making life difficult for themselves. They need to try and bury this game, because who knows what Old Hararians could do. They could just end up coming back into it, Ronald.
And one of those teams is definitely going to run out of time with the way things are going. At this point, we can't even call that Pitbulls can actually hold on to this lead, or Old Hararians will not be able to come back, as they have come back again and again and again. But so far, Pitbulls seem to have relieved a bit of the pressure as they try to defend deep into. They manage to get the ball, and they take it up back in the middle. Let's see if they can try and create some magic there. Old Hararians still holding on for dear life, and Pitbulls still in possession. Meters being gained there. They need to be able to manage this game very, very well. And the all too familiar fire call as it comes. The overlap right in the middle. Try time, Pitbulls. And ladies and gentlemen, that is what makes them champions. And as Jeff says, it is not the size of the dog, but the fight in the dog. And we have seen time and time again, Pitbulls really does not go down without fighting. And Old Hararians at this point will need some really, really big moves, or some really big momentum and motivation to come back into this game. Pitbulls players and the technical team, even the fans, really understand that this might be buried, and we wait for the ref to probably stop this game at some point. But so far, Pitbulls has shown us why they continue to be champions of Zimbabwean under-20 rugby.
So it's looking like it's 24-12, so I hear from the referees. And The home side again having to do a lot of work to try and salvage something here. But again, looks like the referee has called for a stoppage of time. I'm not so 100% sure what he's looking for. But all the Hararians are going to go for it. Punched back. Nyanyua holds on to it. And looks like there's obstruction called by Simbadanga. And so Simbadanga calls for them to come back. Come back where the mark is. And another chance. Shondoa. He's going to go for that hit. Ball comes out again. Good work at the breakdown by Old Hararians. Through their fullback, Kamvumbi, looking for a long pass over the top. He had found the space, looking to accelerate, but the ball has been ripped away, and Simbadanga says they are still offside. And I'm not so sure if they are going to go for post or still decide to go for touch. Looks like they're going to go for a tap and go. Sevens style. Big run. Oh, taken down. Whenever you run into that Pitbulls defense, it's like a brick wall. But even brick walls can be broken through. Big tackle by Nyamkondiwa. Look at him trying to clear it all by himself. That was a massive hit. Nyanyua breaks out. And Simbadanga has just calmed things down, slowing down play. It's a knock-on by Old Hararians and Pitbulls. Now, gonna have a scrum. Now you can see maybe one or two fans beginning to walk out of the stadium in the behind the scenes. I think they can also tell that the clock has fast run down. Very little time left in this second half for anything to happen. But Pitbulls at the moment remain undefeated in the season. Still, ball comes out. Chimaka. Oh, well, that was generally outside. Young man was trying to hold on to possession, but he knocked it on. And the Pitbulls technical bench is feeling good. Right now they can sense somehow, some way, a change is about to come.
You can actually see Jeff and Bob dancing in the rain. They know it is only a matter of time until the whistle comes, and so far it's now just entertainment galore. The big hits coming through from the Pitbulls guys, and they also know that the job is done as at this moment.
Oh yes, as at this moment they have a scrum. Would they want to put icing on the cake? We know they tend to love to do that. The ball is still in the scrum, looking for it, and that is a penalty. And looks like Old Hararians, they're just wheeling that scrum. Mashonganyika decides to go for the pass. Oh, Brendan Gwenzi. Oh, he decides to go through the middle and knocks it on. And with that knock-on, hands over possession to Old Hararians. So as the game is coming to an halt. We're told very little time that is left on the clock, Ronald. It has been the kind of contest that we expected it to be. We expected all the Hararians to come out fighting. They came out fighting. Unfortunately, one or two mistakes that they've paid the price for has allowed the Pitbulls to be in the lead at the moment. Looking for a kick over the top. Gwenzi goes behind him, has to watch out for Kamvumbi, was a little bit too late on the ball there. And surely. And that is it. That is it. The Pitbulls maintain their undefeated streak. The game comes to an end. 24-12 it ends here at Old Hararians. It was a tussle, a battle in the mud. It was mud on each other's faces, but ultimately the most mud went onto Old Hararians' face. It is Pitbulls that walk out with the cleaner face here, winning 24-12. Ronald, your assessment?
It was always going to be very difficult for Old Hararians to win against this informed Pitbull side. But massive respect, really, Ruvimbo, to how they came out and played throughout the game from the first whistle until the last whistle. So even when, the time was up, Kamvumbi was still fighting. And I think the game was for them to lose, and some of the errors maybe the coaches might need to to work around a couple of the players, especially the seniors, so that they are also ready for some of those opportunities that they got, because those are the people that actually then make the difference. But overall, I think Old Hararians gave a very good account of themselves. They didn't get to win the game, but I'm sure their fans, their supporters, they will also be very impressed with the way those boys played. And massive congratulations to Pitbulls. They still maintain and they still rampage. They still chew everything, and they still show us that it is not the size of the dog, but it is the fight in the dog after all.
Yeah, the fight in the dog after all is the one which dominated here at Old Hararians. It ends today in round 6 of the Paramount Archer Harare Under-20 Rugby League. It's Pitbulls who win 24-12 against the Old Hararians. Until, of course, next week, it's bye for now.